Again, my favorite match of all time was in Moline against Jake the Milkman. We were the opening match. This was a week and a half after Patera and Saito had been arrested in Waukesha.
Oh,
Because I
So
actually drove them that night, and I said I have to go home because I got to work tomorrow, and I left them at the hotel, and I drove down to McDonald's and got myself something to eat, and I got to work the next morning, and everyone's telling me about this big freaking fight. So a week
wow.
later, we were in Moline, and they had me and Jake in the opener. Second match was Steve Regal and the big muscle bound black guy from New York, Tony Atlas. And but that night, Saito came in the building, and I started humming the McDonald's song. And he goes, "I thought you my friend. Next time I hurt you bad." So me and Jake, though, we didn't go out and work an opening match. We went out and worked the local main event. We made sure nobody could follow us. And the referee looked at Jake. Jimmy Doo was the referee. And he said to Jake, he says after the match, he says, "Stone was sure hyper out there. I'm glad I didn't have to work with him. It was as light as a feather that night. I hadn't touched Jake," which is pretty good if the referee thought that it was that stiff.
Sure.
We had a hell of a match. I mean, we did knee drops off the top rope, and there was no way anyone could follow us. I think that's my favorite match of all time.
So you were there the night with the Ken Patera arrest, but Saito didn't go to because he. I'm just trying to figure this out. So Saito,
They, we were in Watertown that night. They
right?
came back. I picked them up they drove in on a small plane into Waukesha, grabbed them, took them out there, came back, and I said, "I got to go home." They said, "Do you want to go get something to eat?" And I said, "No, I got to get home. I got to be to work at 7 tomorrow." So it was probably quarter to 12. So I didn't think nothing of it, but McDonald's was still open, so I went through the drive-through and got myself something to eat and jumped on the freeway and headed to Milwaukee. Well, then I got to work the next day and found out what had happened. And I can tell you the story because about 3 years later, I was dealing with a building inspector in Milwaukee who was one of the cops. So he told me the whole thing. What happened was after the deal, Patera was hiding in the bathroom. And Saito was in his underwear when the cops came to the door. And I guess Saito seemed a little shy in front of the lady cop. Well, they were badgering him about where's Patera. And finally Patera flung the door open. And at that point, the lady cop maced Saito. She may have maced Patera too, I don't know. But she maced Saito, and then thinking, I'm a cop, he's a fake pro wrestler, she jumped on his back. This is an Olympic athlete who could kick most people's asses if he wanted to. And he picked her up and just threw her into the wall, and that was the end of the fight because at that point the guns came out.
Right.
And Patera took it good because the next 3 days later we were in Green Bay, and I actually bought him a Big Mac and gave it to him, and he laughed about it. Unlike Mr. Saito, who didn't laugh.
So they made.
We did mend bridges though, because I helped drive him to the courthouse a few times. So
So what? They made bail, and they still started making the towns.
yeah,
Okay.
until he ended up being sent to prison for 2 years, which was bullshit. If the cops had just pulled their guns right away and not started the shit, none of that would have happened.
Right.
Kenny could have paid $500 for the window. End of the story.
Right. Wow. Tom, anything you want to plug? Any social media? Any?
Nope. I don't do anything with the business anymore.
Right.
I did write a book. It's on It's on, well, it's not on Amazon anymore. They took it down. So if anyone wants a copy in PDF, if they want to send you their email and you just forward me their emails, I'll be happy to send them a copy in PDF free of charge.
Please send me one. I'd love to read that.
I will do that. If, the one thing I will say, if any of your fans are dog lovers,
Mhm.
if they can donate to any canine rehab, shelter, not the shelters, the people who rehome the dogs. Uh, those places all need help. I just lost my dog 3 weeks ago to cancer,
Mm.
7-year-old husky, and I already got a new one. But anything anyone, these places are all looking for food or supplies or something. And right now, I care more about the dogs than wrestling.